Hails and welcome to Rauta's Indie 5 reviews. Most of these albums today are actually black metal. There's only one exception, which is thrash metal EP. Other than that, black metal. Embrace yourself. First, we'll start with two different formats of Avskräde album, and this one is the Stora, Tunga, Sjuka. I'm not gonna actually unbox this jewel case, because pretty much the same stuff is more or less with this A5 side digipack, which is of course a cooler format, unless you are one of those who just don't have it. I mean, some people don't really have the heart for digipacks. Some prefer to go all the way with jewel case. Well, in that case, that is your format. This limited version actually has more or less the same booklet, just in a better way in terms of packaging. Well, at least more beautiful one. Has a couple of band photos, then some Swedish lyrical content and all that stuff. In my opinion, looks pretty sweet, and so is the music. This could actually be the best of this pile. That is, if you're not going to hear more about that. Avskräde is basically doing nothing phenomenal as such, but their raw end, kind of a crude black metal with this debut album is something like very, very solid. It's more like, I don't know, Darkthrone and Marduk making kids, and as a result you have that kind of crude but also fast tempo, intense black metal in the very, very Nordic ways, nodding strongly towards 1990s. Nothing phenomenal as such, not reinventing the wheel or anything of that cliche sort, but just, you know, getting back to the basics. Raw vocals and all that stuff. I like it. It's a good one. Then another one from 2020, that is something that I forgot to mention with Avskräde, is that Samaritan with Come Plague Upon Us. This one is some kind of a offshoot in a way that the band actually has already a couple of full albums out, but instead of doing yet another full album, the band decided to go for self-financed MCD and in CD format. Now that is worth mentioning because I had a couple of these copies, I don't know exactly why, and both of them had a little bit of a hard playing in my CD player. The other one wouldn't work in neither in one of my gaming consoles, which is my backup in case my rather picky old CD player, Cambridge one, doesn't really play the audio, but the second CD was totally fine. So there's something wrong with this CDR. Anyway, other than that, this is pretty basic EP with less than 90 minutes of thrash metal music. But there it gets weird. The previous album, The Devil Tunes, that was a good one, like showing that the Samaritan has all it takes to do proper Finnish thrash metal. And here it is more like for us, by us kind of a mentality, which means by musicians to other musicians. Some of these riffs are like, what the hell, I guess they're fun to play and show off and all that stuff, but as a listener I feel like baffled. Why are some of the riffs here? Luckily the first one is the worst one, so once you're past that, it gets a little bit better. But here and there, nothing really happens in the way that the band has been some 8 years ago. I mean, it's a long amount of time, a big amount of time, and since that, it seems the band has been going wrong direction. On top of that, the vocalist is more like a mediocre, lukewarm black metal raspiness, not having passion, energy, or power, and just doing this vocals like that. And in my opinion, that's not a really good way to do thrash metal vocals, but what do I know? For hardcore maniacs, yes. For random thrash metal fans, not so much. Then we go to Denmark with a band called Myrkri, which is here, I guess, with the third album. Their previous one was done with an international lineup, having an American vocalist, if my memory serves me well. And this time it's a Danish vocalist joining the forces with the main person of the band, who is then again doing the music and all that stuff. And now it seems I'm having hard time to getting this booklet out of the box. But here it is, with the Danish title, skyggernes, slør, or something like that. Can't really pronounce Danish. This is a Wolfsville record release already from 2021, third album in the making, and this time it seems not only the vocalists have changed and in some ways to a better direction, but the songwriting is more, how to say, well-rounded, but not exactly very fascinating. The thing here is it's almost like one of those background albums, the kind of a black metal album that falls in the background because there are nothing exactly catchy or memorable when it comes to riffs. It's more like, yes, you have kind of a lo-fi production. You have the basic screamy, raspy vocals. You have the black metal atmosphere, dark and all that stuff. But when it comes to the actual riff, like, okay, now it's going to happen. Nothing is really happening. It's just like filler before killer kind of a material. And I feel this is a big letdown. I mean, it's a listenable album, but it's also very forgettable and not exactly a good album, whereas the previous one was just solid and good. Now it seems like this is done with leftovers from that territory, and I'm not really happy about it. It's definitely listenable, but can I say it's worth buying? I don't know. I think it's a little bit of hit and miss. Then we have this third album by Finnish band Iku-Turso with Into Dawnless Realms. This is something that I got during Steelfest 2022 actually, so last spring, and this one is also Wolfspell Records copy. Got it from the main man from the very same day the album was actually released. This is just plain white basic jewel case with some 30 minutes and 10 some less than 40 minutes in total, and this is something that we could say, Emperor is dead, long live Iku-Turso. Yes, definitely nodding towards 1990s with keyboards and lots of melodies, even a little bit of epicness right there in the songwriting. However, this is not exactly in the night side of Eclipse, but more leaning towards anthems, which is, according to some people, the best Emperor album out there. I would disagree though, but if you are one of those anthems fans, this is probably for you. A lot of these ideas, that is, are taken from the 1990s inspired tunes and feelings and all that stuff, or at least I feel a lot of retro-ish stuff with this one, nodding towards late 90s. Production is solid, so those raspy, screamy vocals are good. The clean vocals seem a little bit unnecessary, but it's not like there are too many of them. And a lot of good melodies also included. Synths, once again, feel more like, okay, we're just adding layers of synths here and there, but they don't really break the deal in good or bad. Overall, I would say definitely a decent album, but can't really top the debut album, which in my opinion is somewhat better. So, for my perspective, Iku-Turso is moving to wrong direction, but that is just me, and my opinion might be wrong, in your opinion anyway. But interesting release and quite good overall. Last and not least, but close to it, is Phreneticum from Germany. This is a two-man band with the debut album, also 2021 by Saturn Records. This features less than 40 minutes with 5 tracks, and this is fast black metal. One could say this is a kind of a background riffless black metal, where everything constitutes to building a good atmosphere, being dark and having fast tempo and kind of a messy production, not exactly showcasing any of the details, but rather having this kind of a honest feeling and, just being generally dark, evil and black. In that respect, this album works well. I was very much divided, like whether I should be giving it a little bit of a praise because of the atmosphere and all that stuff, or just call it kind of a boring background album because, none of these riffs exactly make the thing here. And the funny thing is, the drums almost like a machine, but according to Metal Archives, they should have a drummer. I don't know if they really do, because this two-man band, the lineup is a little bit obscure here. Nothing is here underlining or emphasizing the fact whether there's more than these two guys doing this album. Now, this is a promising band. So many ways, there are a lot of good things here, but also this one is still a little bit of a miss. Because like I said, someone could be a mean ass and say this is a riffless black metal, because everything here constitutes the atmosphere versus being individual riffs and chorus parts or whatever you want to call it to make it more memorable, catchy. It's just striking well. Interesting and potential, but no cigar yet. So, once again, to conclude this Indie 5 piece, I would say the second best in this pile would be Iku-Turso, being the runner-up here, and the first one, Avskräde, the best one of this pile. Good black metal. So, couple of better black metal ones, couple of decent ones, and then a mediocre trash one. Well, you will figure it out for yourself. If you take a look or listen to these bands, you will find links provided in the description box. Listen and hope you will figure out which ones are worth buying for you. Take care. Bye bye.